Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Pancake, and I'm super excited for you guys to be joining me in this new video that I have for y'all today. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's been a while, but things kind of got in the way, so I couldn't make a video, but now I'm here with a new video for y'all. And folks, I'd like to preface this by saying I do not have very many original ideas, and this one is no exception. So, a while back, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare came out. Pretty good game. Did have a few flaws, but overall it was a really good game. Sure, it was weird and different for the Plants vs. Zombies franchise, but it was still good, and a lot of people liked it. So much so that PopCap decided to make a sequel, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, of course. And that was also a very amazing game, almost perfect in every aspect. Perfect sequel, many would say. And more people liked that game. So then, of course, PopCap decided, hey, third time's a charm, let's make a third game. But rather than having Garden Warfare 3, like everyone assumed, we got Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. And oh my goodness, this game is bad. Now, before I start going into the reasons why I think this game is bad, I'm just going to say that if you like this game, that is fine. You can like this game if you want. You can like anything you want. I'm just saying that I do not personally believe that this game is good, and I'm stating reasons why, but you can like this game if you want to. It's completely fine. You're cool if you like this game. More power to you. I have 12 different reasons why this game is the worst Plants vs. Zombies game probably ever. So let's jump right into things, starting with terrible art style. The art style of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 1 and 2 was kind of trying to capture the cartoonish art style of the tower defense games, while also trying to mix a little bit of realism in there. And that's one thing I really love about the Garden Warfare 2 game, the intercinematic. It's mixing both the cartoony aspects of Plants vs. Zombies with the realism and seriousness of shooter games. And I really love that. But Battle for Neighborville tried to take a way more cartoony approach than any Plants vs. Zombies game had been in the past. And the characters kind of look awful. Like, you cannot tell me that Garden Warfare 2 Citron is worse than Battle for Neighborville Citron. Another example, Garden Warfare 2 Rose. You cannot tell me with a straight face that this is worse than this. You just can't. It's bad. The art style is bad. Like, it's stupid. I don't like the art style. Way too cartoony. The other games were more realistic, and I love that. The second point I'd like to bring up is boring gameplay. Now, the Garden Warfare games had some interesting gameplay. There was gardens and graveyards. You would, protect a garden or protect a graveyard, depending on what team you're on. There was Herbal Assault or whatever else it was called, where basically you try and take over the enemy's zones. There was Gnome Bomb, Suburban Nation, there was Vanquish Confirmed. There was all sorts of cool game modes you could play in the original Garden Warfare games. And it was really creative, loved it, really fun. And then Battle for Neighborville was like, hey, what if I do that, except let's take away half of the game modes that make the game actually fun, and just give everybody Team Vanquish, and why not? Let's just throw in a new game mode. Like, there's only 3 game modes in the game. One of them is new, but it's boring. Then the other 2 are things we've seen in the past. And I'm not saying they're bad, but they're bad in this game, trust me. It's not good. The third point is Giddy Park. Giddy Park, in my opinion, a lot worse than Backyard Battleground. Now, in this video, you're going to hear me talking about Garden Warfare 2 a lot. You're going to hear me comparing Garden Warfare 2 and Battle for Neighborville. That's because Battle for Neighborville came right after Garden Warfare 2, so it's the best thing to compare it to. So Backyard Battleground of Garden Warfare 2 was massive. It had all sorts of places you could visit. You could visit the plants neighborhood, you could visit the zombies neighborhood, you could visit the sewers, you could go to Zomberg, you could go to Chomper's Pizza, you could find gnomes, you could find snow globes, you could do the target practice. There was so much you could do. And then, of course, in the sewers, there was the gnome room that you could, get rewards for collecting the gnomes. And then, of course, there was the portal to get to the Gnomeverse, that's what I call it, where you could do the Trials of Gnomes. There was so much you could do in the Backyard Battleground in Garden Warfare 2. But then Giddy Park, it's boring. Like, there's no fun things to explore. There's no collectibles to grab. The most fun thing about Giddy Park is the garlic Easter egg, but even then, that's still kind of boring. You can't summon bosses in Giddy Park. There's no fun game modes to play. There's no Chomper's Pizza or Zomburger. There's no collectibles to find. There's nothing. All you can do is look around, shoot the occasional target, and kill players that are playing. That is boring. That's why Backyard Battleground better than Giddy Park. The fourth point I'd like to touch on is ability changes. So, as you know, most shooter games have the character have abilities to use. Think Overwatch. And, of course, Garden Warfare 2. There are three major things I'll cover. Three major changes. First off, Colonel Corn and his Butter Barrage. In Garden Warfare 2, it was Colonel Corn would throw a hot potato and then butter would fall from the sky as kind of an airstrike and it exploded in X pattern. You know, pretty cool, pretty good. It fits his role as an attacker plant. Battle for Neighborville gave him some sort of butter beacon. I don't know. Scuba Soldier did that, and I'll touch on variants later. But, so, Butter Barrage completely just got screwed over. Engineer's Bolt Blaster is another thing I'd like to touch on. So Engineer is one of the few characters in Garden Warfare history that not only has been in all three games, but has had his ability changed in all three games. In the original Garden Warfare game, he had a drone similar to Cactus because there was no sniper class for zombies, so Engineer had the drone. You know, it was okay, but then when Garden Warfare 2 came out and Captain Deadbeard got the drone, they had to give Engineer something different, so they gave him a turret. The Bolt Blaster. That was amazing. I mean, that made him more of an attacker support combination. And that was really cool. But then in Battle for Neighborville, it's not a turret you can control anymore. You just put it on the ground and you just kind of walk away and let it do things. That's boring. And then the third thing I'd like to cover is Captain Deadbeard's Cannon Rodeo. Oh my goodness, this was the one that got screwed over the most. Out of any ability in the game, any ability in Garden Warfare 2, any ability in Garden Warfare, when making the change to Battle for Neighborville, this one got screwed over the most. So in Garden Warfare 2, Cannon Rodeo was basically a rooted ability where Captain Deadbeard would jump on a cannon, he'd stay where he is, and he'd shoot 6 cannonballs that exploded. Pretty good, fits his role as an attacker very well. In Battle for Neighborville, it went from a simple cannon attack that was really good, really fun to use, to a bad grappling hook. Huh? Like, how do you even make that change? It's bad. It's not even an attack anymore. It's not even related to what it was before. At least the new Butter Barrage replacement ability had something to do with butter. This has nothing to do with pirates at all. It's stupid. I hate it. Next, I'd like to touch on the story modes. Air quotes here, because there are 4 different campaigns you can do, 2 for the plants, 2 for the zombies. And y'all may be thinking, wait, there's only 2 story modes in Garden Warfare 2. What are you talking about? No, there isn't. There's the story modes for the first interactable characters you find, being DaveBot 2000 and then I think some zombie. And then, of course, you have the 3 new characters giving you quests. So that's already 4 each on each side. That makes 8 total, more than Battle for Neighborville has in total. And then, of course, you have the extra game modes at the very end, extra story modes at the very end of all that. And then, of course, you can still do the Chomper's Pizza and Zomburger to get a badge. So that's like 10, 12 total campaign things you can do. That's like double or triple the amount that Battle for Neighborville has. And they're not even good. They're just fetch quests over and over again. And it's really annoying and I don't like it. Now, I've been holding it off for long enough. I mentioned Scuba Soldier earlier, so let's touch on the variants. Or the lack thereof. There are no variants in this game. None. None for the original characters, none for the Garden Warfare 2 characters, not even any for the new characters. There is 0 variants in this game. The whole point of Garden Warfare and Garden Warfare 2, the thing that made it different from the rest of the shooter genre at the time and nowadays, is that the characters had variants that had different properties. For instance, there was the elemental characters, the fire, ice, power, and toxic characters. They all did elemental damage. The ice characters could freeze, the toxic and fire characters could deal extra damage. per second. And then the power characters could do chain damage. There is none of that in this game. There is one elemental character, and that is it. Snapdragon is the only elemental character in this game, and he does fire damage. That is it. Nothing else. It's so stupid. I hate it. I love the variants in Garden Warfare. I love the variants in Garden Warfare 2. And then I hate Battle for Neighborville for getting rid of the variants. Very angry. Next thing I'll cover is the new characters. There are 9 new characters, 4 for the plants and 5 for the zombies. Now that is a different number. It's an uneven number, and I'll touch on that in a second. But the new characters, they're bad. All of them are bad. You can't tell me the single one is good. Acorn and Oak is just trying to be Imp and Z-Mech, but worse, because it can't sprint. Same thing with Space Cadet in her space station. Can't sprint. That makes it bad. And you may be saying, oh, but what about the team-up mechanic? Multiple Acorns, multiple Space Cadets can get on top of Oak and Space Station. That doesn't make it good. Like, that's just trying to shove something into you to make things seem better than they actually are. 80s action hero, I mean, I like the gimmick of a charged attack that, like, has less range but does more damage. But, like, they executed it so poorly with his abilities. Nightcap, completely broken when the game first dropped and is still kind of broken to this day. She is insane, and I hate her for that. Also, she kind of conflicts with Plants vs. Zombies Heroes. There was already a Nightcap there, so what's the deal with the new Nightcap? And then there's Electric Slide. I actually kind of really like Electric Slide considering she's an electric character, but that's basically it. It's Snapdragon, the only elemental character in the game. It's kind of boring. It's kind of Chomper, but worse. He's like a spray Chomper, but he's kind of like Fire Chomper mixed with Yeti Chomper if Yeti Chomper's projectile was on fire. So, not very good. Yeti Chomper isn't very good to begin with. So, next thing I'd like to cover is the game is unfinished. That's why there's an uneven amount of new characters. There's an uneven amount of new characters because the game is unfinished. I only talked about the release new 3 characters, but there's like 3 new characters, but there's like 3 other characters that I didn't mention. 2 of them are for the zombies and 1 of them is for the plants. The game is unfinished. There was meant to be another plant character added, but because PopCap, or EA should I say, EA did all this, but because EA decided to abandon the game barely after its release, the game's unfinished. It is bad. And I just don't like it. It's unfinished and it needs to be finished. Next is the fundamental character changes. There are 3 characters I would like to go over with this fact. Number 1, Chomper. Chomper has a ranged attack now. Let that sink in. Chomper, the melee character of the plants, has a ranged attack. Now, some of y'all may be saying, but Super Brains had the ranged attack in Garden Warfare 2, and he was the melee character. Yes, but Super Brains plays different than Chomper, because Chomper is meant to be a frontline attacker dealing big damage. Super Brains is an agile melee character that also has a ranged attack to go along with it. Super Brains and Chomper are 2 completely different characters. So why did they give Chomper a ranged attack? He's supposed to be the melee character. Speaking of Super Brains, they got rid of his ranged attack. Super Brains no longer has his ranged attack. Now it's replaced with a bad shield. When did he become a tank? He's not supposed to be a tank. He's supposed to be a melee character that is agile and has a ranged attack to complement that. Why does he have a shield? Speaking of shields, Citron's shield got a rework. Now, rather than being an ability, it is now his zoom, meaning you can no longer zoom as Citron. Another thing about Citron's shield is you can't shoot while you have the shield activated. That is one thing that Citron was good at doing in Garden Warfare 2. Citron could put up his shield and be firing at the same time. He could be defense and offense at the same time. But now that his shield is different, it is now his zoom, his gun is completely different. It's now a kind of like a auto fire attack rather than a beam attack. It's stupid. Those two characters got fundamentally changed for the worse. Now, another thing, the game is way too easy. Garden Warfare and Garden Warfare 2 were meant to be more serious entries, I'm using quotes because what are we talking about here? Plants vs. Zombies. They're meant to be more serious entries in the Plants vs. Zombies franchise, meant for, better players of the game. It's meant to really test your skill because, Plants vs. Zombies 2, every other Plants vs. Zombies game, they're more easy games compared to the shooters. Garden Warfare and Garden Warfare 2 were meant to be harder games. Test your skill, more serious. Why is Battle for Neighborville so easy? Like, I could go the entire game, I could go an entire campaign, probably all 4 campaigns, without dying a single time. And that's something, because I'm the one talking here. I die in almost every game I play. Terraria, always die. Minecraft, always die. Garden Warfare 2, always die. I am very prone to death in video games, and the fact that I could probably beat the game deathless is really saying something here. Next, sprinting. Why is there sprinting in this game? The only character that was supposed to go fast was Pea Shooter with his hyper ability. So, tell me why all the characters can sprint now. Like, Pea Shooter's hyper ability got changed to something else. Now he can hover when he's running. But all the characters have a dash now. All the characters can go equally as fast. Like, some characters were not meant to go fast. They just weren't. Like, Pea Shooter is meant to go fast because he is a mainline attacker. And he was the only mainline attacker in the original Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. I mean, of course, yes, there was Chomper, but he was a melee. So Pea Shooter was meant to, run in with his hyper, he'd throw down a bean bomb, shoot some peas, and then run out of there before anyone could do anything about it. Cactus was a sniper, Sunflower was a healer, and Chomper was the melee character. Chomper was meant to go in, tank a lot of damage, do a lot of damage, and that was what Chomper was supposed to do. He didn't need a dash. All the characters can dash now, and that fundamentally changes how you play a character. You can now much easier get in and get out with the melee characters, and you can much easier escape from tough situations with 3 low health characters. And that is stupid because they did not need a dash. And Chomper had a running animation in Garden Warfare 2. Chomper had a running animation. And they didn't use it? If you're going to incorporate sprinting, at least make one of the characters use an animation that he already had. But no, they made a completely different animation for him. I hate this. I hate it so much. Anyway, 2 more points left, guys. Number 11, bosses are stupid in this game. Now, the 4 campaign bosses, they're just not good. Dreadwood, not good. Blightcap, not good. Major Problem, not good. And whatever the 4th one was, probably also not good. And you can tell it's a bad boss if I can't remember the name of it. So, bosses are stupid. And then let's go over the bosses that aren't the campaign bosses. The Gargantuar and Gargantuar boss got hit the worst. They aren't in the game anymore. They're replaced by the Gargantuar brothers, and that is stupid because neither of them act how Gargantuars are supposed to act. It's just dumb. No Garg, no Gigagarg, just replaced by the Garg brothers. That is stupid. And the campaign boss is also bad. Finally, the worst thing about this game. I can overlook everything that I have just mentioned. I can overlook the art style. I can overlook the gameplay. I can overlook I can overlook Giddy Park. I can overlook the ability changes. I can overlook the fact there's only 4 campaign modes. I can overlook the fact there are no variants. I can overlook the fact that the new characters suck. I could just play the old ones. I can overlook the fact that the game is unfinished. I can look over the fact that the characters are fundamentally different from each other. I can overlook the fact that it's too easy. I can overlook the fact that they're sprinting in this game. I can overlook the fact that the bosses are bad. I cannot overlook the fact that there are humans in this game. And not just Dave, but just random humans. For those of you who do not know how Plants vs. Zombies lore is, every human in this game, except for a very select few, are hiding in their houses, not to be, just supposed to be hiding from the zombies. So tell me why There are multiple times in this game where you can talk to humans, you can see humans, and there's even an ending in Turf Takeover where the zombies win. Like, a zombie goes through a TV into a human's house. That's not how the game is supposed to be. The humans are not supposed to be there. The humans are not meant to be in the game. The only humans that are supposed to be in the franchise at all, I'm saying franchise as everything in this franchise, is Dave, Patrice, and Nate. And those last two, and those second characters, Patrice and Nate, they're in the graphic novels exclusively. There's only supposed to be 3 humans in this entire game. Everything else is plants and zombies. Why are the humans in this game? I hate it. I hate it. This game is bad. Sorry for going on that rant, guys. This video has been a lot longer than I normally make my videos. And I hope that you like longer videos, because there should be a lot longer videos coming out soon. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching this 20-minute long video. And I hope you guys enjoyed and hope you have a nice day.